The youth of any nation are the most active of the population. As agents of social mobilization, youth play active role in achieving societal change and transformation. In Nigeria, the youth constitutes a very active part of the human numbers in virtually all strata of the economy. With the insurgency currently devastating the northern parts of the country, engaging the youth and even minors for acts of mass destruction, there comes the need for a national reorientation of Nigerian youth against these vices. One school of thought believes that a lot lies on the youths if Nigeria is to achieve the much desired fight against insurgency and all forms of terrorism. How do we positively involve Nigerian youth in the fight against insurgency, irrespective of ethnic, religious, cultural affiliations, is the focus of the program Nigeria Today. I am Shegun Ojelade. I'm being joined on how to engage Nigerian youths in the fight against insurgency by two eminent Nigerian youth. On my right is Jude Imagwe. He is the senior special assistant to the president on youth and student matters. Jude, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Comrade Jude Imagwe.
Comrade Jude Imagwe. Thank you. On his left is Barrister Ofonime Enoh. He's a lawyer and a youth empowerment advocate. Welcome to the program, Barrister.
Thank you very much.
Now, we're discussing youth, Nigerian youth, very active segment of the population, a mass and a strong potential for national development. How will you see the Nigerian youth? Are they empowered? Are they challenged? Or how will you describe the Nigerian youth?
Yeah, first, in describing what an average Nigerian youth is, we'll talk on different angles, starting from the angles about the strengths that are inherent in an average Nigerian youth, the natural endowment of knowledge and potentiality that are inherent in every Nigerian youth without discrimination across boards, and the quest for innovation and the quest for contributions are usually found in every Nigerian youth, particularly in their chosen endeavor. So if you want to assess an average youth in this country, we'll refer to Nigerian youths as youths that are always productive, youths that are consistent, youths that are patriotic, even if we still have to do more of talking about their patriotism to their country, and above it all, youths that have desires of wanting to contribute and seeks for an opportunity to be carried along in governance, to be carried along in policies, to be carried along in formulation, and above it all, to be trusted with a responsibility. That is what my definition of what an average youth, my brothers and sisters out there are. And I'm sure youths in this country fit within that. As regard their being engagement and how they are being carried alongside with it, I would say it's a 50-50 thing. It's a 50-50 in the sense that...
Jude, we'll come to such issues in the course of the program. I want your comment on how you see the youth population of Nigeria.
Well, in terms of the youth population in Nigeria, I could comfortably say that they constitute majority of the voting strength in this country at the moment. And so there is no government policy that cannot be influenced by the youth, first of all by its civic duties and responsibilities, which is participation in the electoral process. They constitute over 60% of the voting population. And if you look at the population spread of the country right now, between the ages of 18 and 45 are the most vibrant electorates in the country today in terms of awareness, in terms of participation, and going beyond actual participation. We need the Nigerian youth. There's a need because of the effects of globalization today. You see that everything that happens anywhere in the world has a resultant effect on the thinking of the Nigerian youth. So in terms of education, it's the most educationally active, the most politically aware, and there is a need for government to make use, which they have been doing, to make use of this population and also engage the intellectual capacity of the youth, because they are the ones who the policies of government affect at the moment directly. So I see the youth as the fulcrum of which the Nigerian society can move from where it is today to where it is tomorrow in terms of its population spread and voting strength.
Now, from the contributions of the two of you, I can see that this is a vital segment of the population that makes the Nigerian population very, very strong, like you said, active, you know. So one begins to wonder then why some of the issues that we're facing now, we talk about lack of empowerment, lack of this, lack of that. If we have a very vibrant, active population, like you said, why are we still having some of these challenges of capacity, of this, of that? Where did we go wrong in the management of the Nigerian youth as a potential for growth?
Well, the first part where I will want to come in as regard capacity, engagement, and development. If I would say where we went wrong is at the point we began to think that everything that has got to do about capacity building of young people, engagement of young people, has to fall on the shoulders of federal. Now, every responsibility has been pushed, even from family to the federal to the top. Not until we go back to what democracy actually is and how it should be spread, we will find it very difficult. We went wrong when we are scared of adhering to the fact that there is a need for 100% local government autonomy. Now, if we have a total autonomy in the local government areas, it means the total drift or migration from the urban area to the rural area will be reduced. Because a man that feels that he wants to run from his village to the city to go seek employment and knows that he can be empowered in his local government sees no reason why he wants to leave his local government. And when that chronicle of change begins, there is level of education from local government, there is level of responsibility from the local government tied to the citizenries, overwhelmingly tied to young people. Because just like I've always said, as water is to plant, that is how youth is to every country. Water makes plants grow, and youth makes every country advance, stable. The future of youth and the actions and inactions of youth determine the way a country will be derived. If a country is moving towards productivity, it means the youths are together. If there are countries where you find difficulties and several challenges, it means there is potential problem tied to how youths are being looked into. Then if local government sits up to their responsibility, little number of persons will go to state. Then the function of the federal should have been an intervening organ to state and local government. And so when we failed in these areas, everything now comes to the board or the shoulders of the government. People begin to say, at the center, I'm looking for job, you're looking for federal. I'm looking for quality health care, you are looking at the federal. I'm looking for sound educational environment, you are looking at the federal. You equally want to get better life, you are looking at the federal. Now, when the pressure is huge there, federal is not expanded, but the populations at all times are expanding because we don't have birth control. So a child that was in primary 6 yesterday, whether you like it or not, tomorrow will get into the university. And just as that child is going into the university, others are graduating from the university. And so as they are graduating out of the university, people are going into the university. So the pressure will continue to accumulate and the pressure will be there. But I feel so strongly that where we are today, we are beginning to come to terms with it. Youth issues are issues that at all times are being discussed everywhere. My prayer is that as we are discussing it, we are taking records of the ways to get it solved, and we accumulate these ideas and put them into practical usage.
Now, he has mentioned the issue of other tiers of government not being alive or responsible enough to the needs of the Nigerian youth. Do you agree?
Well, not in totality, because there have been flashes of good news coming from different states and across the federation. But to align with what the senior special assistant said, what he said advocated for was a complete autonomy to give responsibility, actual responsibility to the local government, because there are certain states where you have local governments that are virtually appendages of the state government, and you have local government chairmen with little or no executive powers. So a move towards creating a constitutional framework which will give actual constitutional responsibilities to the local government, whereby a local government chairman or a councillor could be called to a question when he could not provide the basic necessities, because democracy is a very popular form of government whereby it is the closest to the people and the closest to the man in the village. The closest representative to the man in the village is the councillor, then the local government chairman. So we do not need a situation where youth would need to be coming to Abuja to advocate for creation of jobs in the local government. We don't need to be coming to Abuja to cry for a policy in agriculture which could engage youth. We do not need to come to Abuja to cry for industrialization. There are certain constitutional frameworks that needs to be put in place, and these are one of the flashpoints in the national conference, because there's been a move. The youth representatives in the national conference have been advocating for a complete reversal of the roles of the local government at the moment, to give them more power, to give the states more autonomy, and let the federal government concentrate on issues that a federal government in a proper federal system of government should do. So that is where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the perspective that it could be better given the right constitutional framework, especially at the local government level.
Now, the program is Nigeria Today. We're discussing the Nigerian youth and the problem of insurgency. We'll take a short break now. My two guests are still in the house. Welcome back. The program Nigeria Today continues. My two guests, Jude Magwe and Ofonime Enoh, are still in the house. Now, against the backdrop of what we've been talking about the inability of some tiers of government to be able to engage Nigerian youth more actively. Now, they say the idle hands is the devil's workshop. So if we can't engage them productively, can that be an opportunity for mischief makers to come in and engage them?
Well, most times I feel engagement has to do with foundation. It has to do with morality from its origin. It has to do with the kind of value that has been inculcated in you yesterday. Now, if we feel that a young man grows up and the society now quickly want to attribute to the fact that if there is any form of insurgence, if there is any form of negativity is tied to young people. Now, young people have now been tied to the fact that they are the ones that are carriers of terrorist attack, they are the ones that are carriers of armed robbery and kidnapping attack. Yeah, we may not deny that fact totally. But the question I want us to ask ourselves at all times, at what time our parents too have failed in their responsibility that have pushed us to where, see, the heart from where hatred comes, that is where love too can equally be built up. Now, I'm not sure any of these brothers of ours were on the date of their birth termed as terrorists. Neither were they termed as going to be kidnappers and the rest. Something went wrong along the line. What went wrong along the line is negligence, either negligence of parents or negligence of guidance. Now, because if you make a child feel that he is not loved, if you make a child feel that he do not have a future, if you make a child feel that there is nothing good that can come out of that child, the child believes in a man that tells him that he has a better future tomorrow. He believes in a man that may even indoctrinate him or radicalize his thinking negatively about you. What I feel that we should be discussing now is what is the power of two. When I say what is the power of two, what is the power between myself and yourself if we decide to work together? What power do we share if we extend it to three? Now, as an individual, I cannot fight any terrorist group. You as an individual too, you cannot. But collectively, we can fight these things. So if there is a problem that results to societal decay, it should not totally be thrown on the shoulders or the heads of young people. We should sit down as a country to ask ourselves, where have we gone wrong? Our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, our political gladiators, at what point have they misrepresented the ideology of young people? Because to every child that is growing, the child is watching and the child learns. So I feel pains each time I sit and I watch on the pages of paper, read from the pages of paper, or watch on telly and they say, this thing has gone here, this thing has gone here. My pain is the fact that a young man or a woman, young boy or woman, like the case of the students in Polytechnic of Kano, they woke up, young man not sick, young man not handicapped, going out to ensure that he becomes something to the society and contribute his own quota. Another haters of destiny wakes up and terminates his dreams, shatter the dreams and the expectations and the spending and the contribution of the parents. Now, my own submission at all times is, while we are still as young people talking to ourselves on how we should come back out of conviction to realize that Nigeria belongs to us more than the older generation, that Nigeria should be protected by us more than the older generation, that if we equally dream of a better Nigeria, we must work towards it now. Our parents too should equally go and sit amongst themselves. The traditional rulers, the religious leaders, the clergymen, and the political actors ask themselves, where have they failed and where have they gone wrong?
Okay. Now, Jude seemed to be throwing the ball back into the courts of the adults, or parents. But it doesn't mean that we as youths have no blame. Can the Nigerian youth, on his own, is it possible for a rethink? Is it possible for a reappraisal? You know, but people talk about patriotic ideals, for instance, and you hear it is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't, if the Nigerian nation, some people say, okay, well, in America, for instance, right from the primary school, the child is taught to see America as his own. Now, in Nigeria, while we agree that yes, our parents have failed, how about the entity called Nigeria into molding her own youths?
Absolutely, that's a fantastic question. Now, two policies of government that in the past strengthened unity, strengthened ethnic assimilation, was the unity schools that were established post the Nigerian Civil War and the National Youth Service Corps, NYC program. Now, these two programs at the secondary school level led to integration of students amongst other from different parts of the country. And then, after university, just prior to getting into society, the National Youth Service Corps Act also allowed Nigerians to explore Nigerians to explore other parts of the nation, which led to cultural integration, intermarriages, settlement, and all whatnot. But you see, today, those programs are being threatened. Now, it's not being threatened because the youths did not believe in that program. I am a beneficiary of Unity School. I also served in Anambra State. Okay. Now, those programs are being threatened today because of what is going on in different states. And you see, it could boil down to advocacy by ethnic advocacy by leaders who have hitherto fallen out of favor with the center or with the power. they are the people falling out of power. So we have to be very careful in the implementation of these policies, because you see a situation whereby someone who was in support of a government today, and then all of a sudden has fallen out of favor with that government, automatically becomes an advocate for a particular ethnic group.
An activist.
Yes. Now, when you were in government, you were saying you were talking one Nigeria, and then all of a sudden you are no more in government. You are saying you're talking regionalism or ethnic supremacy. That is the policy somersault of some of the leaders who the youths look up to. Is vital to the promotion and the strengthening of these noble policies. Like today, the UWIN program of His Excellency has opened up a lot of business opportunities for young Nigerian entrepreneurs. So these things, policies are there, but we need to also look at the angle of the elders. Well, either way, my point being that either way, the Nigerian leaders, the elders, need to call themselves in order, because if they do not organize themselves, they will find followers in idle members of the youth population. That's my submission.
Now, we mentioned the issue of involving youth in governance, engaging them in the course of, when we started this program. That's one of the allegations being leveled against the elders in the country today. At virtually all positions, the elders that have been there yesterday are still there even up till tomorrow. The youth don't have voice, and then in politics, both in practice and operation, they are not there. All elective positions are held by the older generation, and there is something about mentoring. Now, do we have any plans? From your point of view as SSA to Mr. President on youth affairs, is there any plans to ensure that come 2015, for instance, we encourage more youths and we actually give them opportunities to be where some of the elders are today?
Yeah, let me take it from two angles. The first angle from the promises of Mr. President to the second angle where it has to do with young people themselves. Now, the last Democracy Day, May 29th, the first time in the history of this country was dedicated to young people in attendance of Mr. President, the Vice President, the total arms of government were present there. It goes beyond that. In the present Federal Executive Council today, we have young people that occupies the Minister for States for Foreign Affairs is a young man. He came on board within the age bracket of 32. The president is desirous of ensuring that young people are given opportunity to work. Young people are given opportunity to exploit themselves. And these are practically shown, even in the sports industry, in the movie industry. The last time when they analyzed our domestic growth, Nigeria is ranked 26th. Now it was because there is an industry called the movie industry that skyrocketed. Yesterday, it was forgotten. But this government came and gave the voice to it. When we spoke about sports, when Mr. President came, he convoked a sports retreat and said there's a need for us to have a total rethink about it. And he went about it and there was changes. Now on the 29th of May, the president made again another promises to the Nigerian young people. He said, and I quote, that with the young people he had seen and had worked with, he is more than ever convinced than ever that young people has got what it takes to contribute to the advancement of this country. And is equally hoping and willing that in the months and in the years ahead, he will have more of young people to work with. But again, the choice is for young people to make. So if young people want to occupy positions, young people must be fully engaged in the processes that leads to election. With all sense of sincerity and with conviction, not convenience. Conviction that if it is not me, another young man can go. And what I'm advocating presently now, which I've equally done in documentation, and we are doing it from cell group to cell group, we are demanding for 30% youth inclusion from local government to federal election.
I must thank you, gentlemen. Barrister Ofonime, I thank you for coming on the program. Thank you for all that you have said.
Thank you very much.
And comrade, Comrade Jude. I will thank you,
I'm happy that
Mr. President.
Comrade. I worked for it.
Thank you very much. Well, until we come your way with yet another edition of the program, Nigeria Today, I am Shegun Ojelade saying bye-bye.